This is Eric Rutan of Cannibal Corpse. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast with Andrew McKay Smith.
Greetings all. Thanks for joining me for yet another installment of the show. I appreciate it. I've got a conversation with Stig Pedersen from the outfit Disneyland After Dark, which is stylized as DAD these days. Well, it has been for a while, but anyway. The point is, I've got a conversation with Bassist Stig from the group to share with you. Now, the catalyst for the chat is due to the impending tour by the group of Australia, selected cities throughout late November 2022. So the very few Australian listeners that I've got, if you want to check out one of the finest melodic rock bands ever, now's your chance. They are that good, and you'll hear why in the moment. I have selected a tune for your listening pleasure. Which one? Sleeping My Day Away is the name of this tune here. Once it's done, we'll cut to the chat. Let's go. Hello, Stig. Andrew Mackay-Smith calling for our chat from Australia. How are you?
Hello, Andrew. I'm very good. And you?
I'm doing very well, mate. Yeah, it's been a very pleasant evening so far. So I imagine it's the middle of the day for you, or beginning of the day.
It's the beginning of the day, yes. I have one foot in the studio. We're actually going to record some more today, and I think we'll have an album out next year. So it's gonna be really exciting. And the time is what? It's 9:30 or something at your place.
8:30.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm an hour behind everybody else. Yeah, but yeah, it's close enough. Close
you
enough.
have the time difference. Aha, yes.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
It's a big country.
Yeah, the issue for us is daylight saving in Queensland, the state I'm in. We don't do daylight saving, and it's ridiculous. We should, but that's a political conversation for another day.
So they never did.
Never did. No, it was a regional thing. You had a lot of people who worked on the land back in the day, and they complained that their day would be significantly altered, and they'd have to get up too early and all this bullshit. But mate, hardly anybody works on the. I mean, how many people work on the land these days? We all live in cities these days, as you know. So it's a redundant argument.
Yeah.
But it's great to hear that you guys are coming down. I understand it's the first tour to Australia in 32 years.
In 32 years, wow! Yeah, we were having like a farewell reception at the Australian embassy because the very, very, very kind lady who's from Australia, the Australian ambassador, she wanted to say hello and goodbye to us. So we were like really honored. We felt like, what's going on here?
That's fantastic, yeah. Well, Australia was one of the first places to embrace the band outside of Denmark. So are you still getting a lot of mail and attention from Australian fans?
Actually, there are one or two comments, every time we, post something on our Instagram or whatever.
Yep.
And that's heartwarming. So there's definitely some interest, and we're super excited about going so far away after all these years. That's a really good situation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, No Fuel left for the Pilgrims from, I think it's 1989, that album. That struck a chord with Australian audiences, and it didn't chart. I think it charted in the US, but the point is, the highest place that it charted was in Australia in an era where rock was. It could actually do that. So, why do you think that album in particular was so popular here?
I think it was all down to promotion. No, I don't know. I think it's melodic songs. We still play them live, and they are like time tested. And if you take like an evening and listen to all the bands released around that period, I think that it definitely holds water, as we say.
Mm-hmm. I tend to agree. It's very different style, but you appeal to Australian audiences in the same way that the band Enough's Enough did. Okay, so like people were liking a lot of the so-called hair rock bands or whatever you want to call them, but you guys and Enough's Enough had. You guys have got this Western flavour going through your music like Badlands do, and I think that is one of the key reasons why Australians like you guys.
And luckily we kept that influence and sound, the big, fat and friendly guitar. And we just changed the drummer. He has been with us for 20-25 years.
Okay.
The old drummer became an engineer, and so when we were like raving around in the tour bus, he was like, "Shh, I'm reading. I'm trying to study here." So out he went. or he left himself. But me and the brothers in the band are more or less like it's like our what you call the call of life, where you feel that you always wanted to do this. So that would be stupid to do something else because it's what you always wanted and has been working towards that goal. And I think when grunge came and hard rock was and rock was overnight.
Yeah, I remember.
Falling star. Then we just kept on going and stayed together, and so we've been together in ups and downs, and just made us more solid. And we hardly ever argue, but of course, being together for almost 40 years is a bit of a struggle. You have to swallow some camels.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can imagine. Yeah. You've raised a couple of good points in there, and I'm going to bring up the last one you raised there, which is the 1990s. Now, I always love talking about this with established bands and musicians like yourself, because for you guys in particular, you worked with a label called Medley throughout the 1990s. Now, a lot of
that was like an independent. Yeah.
Oh, okay, an independent. Well, a lot of bands of your era, and you couldn't even get a label. You were thrown off labels, but you guys kept a label. So, do you think that label was important in keeping the band's legacy alive, or was it more about the work you guys were doing, touring and keeping the band in the frame?
I would say that the grunge thing and being dropped from Warner Bros. in the US, the worldwide deal, that was, of course, a financial thing, because they had a lot of bands and now everybody wanted grunge. But in Scandinavia, we have had a good career going. So we weren't really like, we still played big festivals in Scandinavia and northern Germany, even though grunge came and even though we were sacked from Warner Bros. Worldwide. So we just had to build it up slowly again. So every time we played some big festival and got some serious money, we invested them in going far away places, like for us, Spain, for example.
Yeah.
So now, today we have a good career going in Portugal and Spain as well.
Okay. You've raised another great point there that I want to talk about just quickly, but Scandinavia never lost the hope, and Scandinavians were almost single-handedly responsible for spearheading the launch of rock and metal back into the mainstream at the end of the 90s and into the year 2000s. There are some other great bands like Cradle of Filth, of course, that did their thing too, but by and large, it was the Scandinavian bands like In Flames, Dark Tranquillity,
right.
These sort of bands. You know where I'm headed? And the fans too. The fans have always been... Richie Blackmore famously said that, I think he only played the reunion shows in Scandinavia, if I'm not mistaken, that he did with Deep Purple. I could be wrong, but I think that's what happened. So what, in your view, what is it about the Scandinavian fans and the audience that makes them so important for rock and metal?
Well, I haven't really thought so much about it, but don't you think it's the same as when Japanese people want to be rockabillys? They are rockabillys 100%. They
I know.
it's a lifestyle. They go all that fucking way. Yeah. So I think you can compare it with we being up in a corner of the world and being kind of isolated, and then you just squeeze the very important drops out of something, and you just keep on purifying it. You can say.
No, I hear you. Yeah. Something else you mentioned earlier. Well, I brought it up, but it resonated, and that is that the band does have this lovely Western sound going on, and it's probably I can't understand why other bands didn't lean into it a lot more. There are a couple of Australian bands that did it, but Not many, really. You guys are pretty much the kings of doing that sort of stuff. So what was the significant influence that brought that sound into the band?
I think it was like when we all played in different punk bands in 78, 79, and then the punk died out, and then the whole scene was like very depressing and terrible. People committed suicide, and your best friend was addicted to heroin and stuff like that. Then we thought we have to bring back the joy of attending a concert. So we picked up on country western together with punk, and we played some cowpunk in the very early days. So the first two albums is like in the cowpunk style, like Gun Club and Rank and File and all those bands. And then when it wasn't fun anymore, then I think we kept that element and then turned towards more solid music, so solid rock, like in the AC/DC tradition. And then the fat guitar just stayed there, and we're like, wow, this is something.
Yeah, it definitely is something. It's great music for people who are on the fence about that sort of rock and roll, in that, yes, you've got the full-on Bon Jovi style rock music, AC/DC style rock music happening, but a lot of people, they want something else, they want something more, and you give it to them through the Western style.
Yeah. The melodic twist. Yeah.
Yeah.
And funny thing is that when we play like at some festival, and then we have some songs from No Fuel Left from Pilgrims album, and they are right beside songs from our latest album, and it doesn't sound that far away. It sounds like, they're from the same creators. So that's good.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Now I'm a bassist, so I always love talking to a bass guitarist from the perspective that I like trying to understand, your philosophy as a musician. So you famously, though, do play two-string bass guitars, and I think you might have been one of the first prominent people to do that. So can you tell me why you ditched the extra two strings, and you just went with the two-string bass?
Well, it's because all the cool basses were always right-handed, and I had terrible troubles with the volume knobs and the jack was like sticking out in the middle of the bass, so my arm couldn't fit around it. So when I started to make some money, then I went directly to a guy who builds instruments, and I had my first left-handed bass made, and then I thought I would add some humor into it. So I had like a rocket made, and I had an olive with a toothpick through it, and I had like a half a car and stuff like that. And it's the E and the A string, and I actually learned just to play on those two strings, and it's actually also what I record with. So it's just become a part of everything.
Yeah. What about, have you ever found a need for the B string? So say with a 5-string bass, it goes down. I understand the top 2 strings might not necessarily.
I think I played a bit with some ideas while we were recording the Black album called "Help Yourself Fish." That was a very dark, rockish album, and I think I tuned I tuned the bass down, and I actually had this big 5-string bass, and it was terrible. Back to the 2-string.
Yeah, I bet. I couldn't imagine going from 2 strings to 5 strings. It just changes the dynamic enormously, and unless you're a bassist, you wouldn't understand it, but you do because you are a bassist.
Yeah.
What's your favourite album from the band?
The favorite album, that would be the album when Laus, the new drummer, came on board.
Simpatico or Everything Glows?
Everything Glows. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I had a memory loss because there's some beautiful stuff on it. And when Peter, the old drummer, left because he wanted to become an engineer, then we were like, well, should we quit as well? Because we were dumped from Warner Brothers, and we were just sitting here in Copenhagen thinking, what's the meaning? So we just started to, just me and Jesper, the singer, we were sitting in my living room and just playing together. And then his brother Jacob, and so the three of us actually just sat around and composed. And then we found the drummer, and then we got going again. So that was like a very, a very unstable time, but at the same time, the resurrection, and we got back together, and I think there's some really fine songs on that album. I wrote a lyric because my father passed away. Mm-hmm. It's called Something Good, and I think it's got that, the Everly Brothers, I love them. Okay. So it has the same, that Everly Brothers feeling, it's a 50s feeling, but in a new song. It's called Everything. No, it's called Something Good. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I'll check it out after this. I haven't heard that song. Yeah, okay, I'll check it out. Yeah. What about what about the name of the band? Of course. Okay, now for people, I do host a podcast, so I'll broadcast it on my podcast. But the band's name originally was Disneyland After Dark. Did Disney, the corporation, did they threaten to sue you guys, or can you tell me the story about why you had to change the band? As I say, I know it's out there and it's probably old news, but a lot of younger people and people who might not be familiar with the band will be listening.
No, I think that in the ruins of punk, where people just had like 3-letter names, then it was very much in fashion to have long names. I think that's one reason. And we were like, okay, Disneyland is the light and gay and happy side of it, and After Dark is like, oh my God, what goes on the amusement park after dark? So we thought it was a really funny name and nice, good name. But then we started to become more and more popular, and we played America, and then I think they found out about us because it was before internet. So they must have seen some poster somewhere. And they wrote some letters that if we didn't stop immediately, then they would sue us, and it wouldn't be nice. It would be really ugly. We had to pay them so much money. So we stopped immediately and shortened it down to DAD, and that was, of course, like losing your identity, and people thought that the name was Dad, like father, and you don't want a band called Dad. So that was really, in the beginning, it was a
bit difficult.
It was really bad. But we learned to live with it, and the name is DAD, and hardcore fans knows that it stands for Disneyland After Dark. That's the story.
Well, there was the the rumor that it was Danish and dangerous, which I quite like. That was cool. That went around for a while. But
I think that was an Australian invention.
I like that though. It sort of fits you guys in some ways, given the Western sound and the heart, the punk roots you guys have got. So I'll. I
think I saw like a record shop, and it said Dead and Danish, because it was like right after the grunge thing happened.
Dead and Danish, all right, yeah. That'd actually be a good band name too. But you couldn't come from Denmark and be called that, though. It had to be from Australia or Canada or something like that, because it only makes sense then. Yeah. Stig, I'll ask you one more question if that's okay. Can I ask one more? Have I got time for one? Yeah. The show that you're bringing down to Australia, will it be unique, or is it fairly similar to the shows that you play across Europe?
Well, we actually had a job in Spain together with Kiss and Judas Priest, and normally we would just fly down there with 2 guitars. But we took a big truck and we drove down our own equipment and our own show gadgets and stage show, all kinds of stuff going on. And that we actually thought that was the way to do it, and then come home without any money.
Yeah.
Just spend them on the whole show and the whole trip. But unfortunately, it's only possible to fly down to Australia, rent some backline, and bring 1 or 2 basses, 2 guitars. So I must say that we will do our best, but you'll have to wait a couple of more years to get the full package.
I think we appreciate that the band's come down with a more stripped down set, to be quite honest with you. I spoke to Eric Danielson from Watain about this, because they're known for these very ornate, fiery stage shows. And when they came to Australia, they were talking about bringing their Ramones set. So it was just bang, just fall to the floor. And I reckon we're going to get the same thing from you guys. So I'll try and be in the audience for this one, mate. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool, super, nice.
No worries. Well, Stig, it's been great having a chat to you. Thanks for being cool, and good luck with everything, and hopefully we'll see you down here soon.
Yeah, all right, see you. Thank you, bye-bye.
Thanks, Stig. Cheers, mate. Bye. Well, there he is. What a nice fella. Stig Pedersen from the outfit DAD. Hope you enjoyed that one. Incidentally, there are 4 Australian dates in November. If you hear this before the 17th and you live in Brisbane, well, might as well go along to the show. I'm going to try, because I'm actually a little bit curious. They're playing at the zoo. Haven't been to the zoo in a while either, so might as well go along and check out that one there if I can. The next day, the 18th, Sydney, the Manning Bar. The 19th, they're at Max Watts in Melbourne, and the final date of the tour is in Perth at the Rosemount Hotel on the 22nd of November. Before I let you go, though, please do stick around, as I've got some messages around a book that I've just written, Scars and Guitars, Volume 1, Conversations from the World of Heavy Metal and Beyond. I'd appreciate it if you could listen to it. Otherwise, it's peace. And until next time, it's a very goodbye for now.
This is Eric Rattan of Cannibal Corpse. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast with Andrew McKay Smith.
I've been the host of the Scars and Guitars podcast since 2017. The first musician I interviewed for the show was David Vincent from Morbid Angel, and things have just snowballed from there. In all, I've posted almost 650 podcast episodes featuring conversations with many of the leading lights of rock, heavy metal, and beyond. It just got to a point where I thought, I need to write a book about all this, so that's exactly what I did. In Scars and Guitars Volume 1, you'll read a heap of deep reveals and commentary, such as Des Fafara talking about Coal Chamber and why the band will never return.
You know, if you're a band just starting out, you need to hear me. Do not start a band with partners. Ever.
Yeah, wise words there. Sage advice, mate, for anybody.
Don't ever, because I can't go do Coal Chamber right now unless I get others involved.
Phil Anselmo talks about the episode in his career which gives him the greatest sense of accomplishment.
I think the staying power of the fans and the staying power of the songs, you know, whether it's Pantera, Down, or Superjoint, the fans remember the songs.
Alex Skolnick from Testament confirms that, yes, playing the guitar in Ozzy's band is anything but an ordinary gig. Will Silent Oz from Dimmu Borgir write a book? Pa from Sabaton gives advice to people who want to start a band.
Look at the team around you, look at the bandmates. If the guys want to be on the stage, then it's all cool. If the guys want to be backstage, then it's not going to be cool.
Current and former members of Cradle of Filth discuss the band's seminal 90s material. Read about the reaction to George Lynch and Mark from Suicide Silence's comments when they throw shade at then President Donald Trump.
We have this idiotic monster, you know, this egotistical, self-aggrandizing, complete piece of shit in there. I just can't understand how we've gotten to this place.
And yeah, we kicked a hornet's nest with Sepultura. Percussive overlord Gene Hoglan talks about recording with Chuck Schuldiner.
Chuck was always, he was very, very open-minded, and he was into having his musicians that were playing with him just reach out for the best stuff that they had.
Phil Campbell from Motorhead discusses what it takes to get sober. John Five answers his critics who dismiss his tenure with Marilyn Manson.
My name is John Five, and Manson gave me that name, and I had some of the best years of my life in that band and learned a lot.
And we get the lowdown on Treyarch Zagtoth from those who would know, including his mother. All across Scars and Guitars Volume 1, there are moments of tension, relief, tragedy, exhilaration, and throughout it all, you'll obtain insight that I believe no one else has managed to obtain from many of your favourite artists. So treat yourself. Scars and Guitars Volume 1 is currently available as an ebook with a print edition on the horizon. Follow the links attached and download a sample. I'm sure you'll be compelled to read the whole book.